And welcome back to the Esports Podcast. This week we had a lot of games. We had League of Legends competing, I believe, twice this week. We had the CS2 bye. We had Valorant playing on Monday, and Marvel Rivals over the weekend. So a lot of action to get through on the podcast here. We'll start with Valorant, where we ended up falling 2-1.
2-1. First map looked pretty good for SMSU. We did win 13-6.
Yeah, pretty dominant. I know SMSU had just finished practicing that map, so it's fun to see the immediate success on it.
Yeah, and it's Luna's map too on Lotus, I believe it was. So he leads the SMSU with 20 kills and only 9 deaths. Only person without a double-digit death.
Yeah, he was playing phenomenally throughout the entire Lotus. He was definitely finding some aggressive plays. We're definitely going to see some highlight reels of Luna just being aggressive and finding a lot of collapses.
Yep. So, but things like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, Omen right behind him, 18 kills. Yeah. You know, sometimes the unsung hero. Sometimes you're doing well. It's just one person playing slightly better and kind of covers it up. But Teo also was 17. You know, SMSU, they were fragging on this map for sure.
Yeah, and he had 11 assists, Teo. So yeah, definitely doing really good with his util.
The enemy Raze with 25 kills though definitely was the person causing them some trouble. Yeah. But SMSU do come through on Lotus, and then we went to Bind.
Yeah, Bind looked a little worse for wear for SMSU, losing 13-6 this time. Leader for SMSU this time is Krillic with 16 kills. He planted the bomb 5 times. I believe he was on Gecko on that one.
Yeah, so, I mean, that is pretty normal on Gecko that you're going to have a lot more bomb plants than a lot of the other characters. But, yeah, Darkness Luna not finding as much success on Bind, only at 12 kills over the duration of that map.
And Cypher and Tejo both with 11, with Brimstone falling a little behind with 6. Yeah. So SMSU very much struggled on this one. Definitely something to look at.
For sure.
In the review. And then on game 3 also, this one was a little closer, but it was still SMSU losing 13-8.
Yeah, this is another tough one for SMSU. On a map they don't play a ton.
Yeah. I feel like SMSU did a decent job on a map that they didn't really know too well. You know, Tejo looks like he led the team with 18 kills, with Sky right behind with 17. And 9 assists on Sky too.
Yeah, so a lot of assists coming out. You know, a lot of utility on that Sky character. You know, used a lot more to get information, to get those flashes, to create more opportunities from the rest of your team. But I think SMSU really struggled on defense, if I remember right, on Pearl. Their attack side went fairly well, but they just weren't able to find rounds on the defensive side, really.
And this fade was a problem, too, for SMSU. She was finding a lot of intel early, and these guys like to play really aggressive for orbs. SMSU tried to do something about it. We couldn't. And that was the story for Pearl on attacking.
Yeah, but we do have some highlights from that series, and we'll get into those right now.
Door not being open quite yet. Now it is. Nade coming out. Prowler getting destroyed.
That was scary, bro.
Yeah. Oh, get it, dude! He needs to get out away from that smoke. He's just chasing him down. Oh, okay.
All missiles away. Live.
I'm really confused by this push. From Concordia, the 2-3 does look like it's working for well. As he takes out one, gonna spray down the other one through the smoke.
Was a good
KJ
spray
is
there.
stuck in trees, and he knows he's there. Gonna get a third.
Job.
Knows he's on site. Oh, they're playing cat and mouse. The timing. Playing cat and mouse, and it looks like Krillic is gonna be the one to win. With his back turned and everything.
That was so dumb. They're celebrating.
One is unfortunately going to be heaven, so they're really going to push it off. Oh. Guy heaven still. He jumps out. Oh, nice 2 kills from Machadi.
Good work there from Krillic and Machadi.
Ooh, breach all coming in. SMSU is unable to get a plant down. 2 kills. Oh! Well done. 0 gets a kill.
SMSU popping off right now.
As the all comes in, and that will be game. SMSU is going to be your second seed for the league.
Yes,
Carlos
sir.
taking out 1, gonna get traded. 2v2 situation. Blind going through. Chatty is able to dodge. Nice shot from Chatty. And getting the trade is 0. Gonna be able to get that bomb plant.
Bingo.
Tying up the game for where Carlos just is. Braves is on site. Fight happening. Sonic doing some good damage. Is gonna take damage back from. Looks like walling down.
Spike down. C. One enemy remaining.
Take out 2.
Another.
That's into that point position already.
Oh god.
They know where they are. Taking out 2 more. Good trade by Zarek. Zenark. My bad.
Who's Zarek? That's like, is that
guy
like his
made
brother?
I think it is. It might be. 2v4 in favor of SMS. Gonna get taken out. Gonna do quite a bit of damage to the Vice and Gecko. Notice there's 1 door. Carlos sitting patiently like a shark. Circling his prey.
Short bait.
One enemy
Good
remaining.
kill by Carlos. And a great shot.
Great highlights from SMSU Valorant. Moving on to League of Legends. Their first game of 2, they went 2 for 1. They won game 1 very convincingly, I would say, in the bot lane. Had a very good first half of the game, and SMSU had a game plan, and we executed very good on game 1.
Yeah, I definitely think their game plan in game 1 was much better. I believe this is. Do we
This is game
see?
3.
This is the interrupting backs, isn't it? No, that was the previous week. Never mind.
No, that was the previous week. This is game 3.
Oh, oops. I have the wrong screenshot pulled up. It must be in reverse order.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
sorry about that.
We get the Amumu for the jungle. They didn't ban it this time.
Yeah, we didn't see it in the rest of the
and-
series because Amumu gets banned out immediately after this. We did see the Garen in the top lane struggling a little bit early, but really dominating that matchup after the game got going. The Heimerdinger Victor had a lot of pressure in the bottom lane. The Vayne really wasn't getting going. And we saw Jace doing pretty well in the mid lane. Varus came out as a counter pick to it, trying to match that range a little bit. But I thought Jace did very well in that lane anyway, even with being counter picked a little bit. You know.
And Jace leads here. In kills, 13.
13 kills was fed this game.
Yeah, he was our hyper carry, and you mentioned Garen struggling top, but Garen's got the 6 kills. Only died 4 times.
Yeah,
and
just
it's a hard
struggled a little
matchup
bit
for
in the
Garen.
early levels. I believe like at level 11 just takes over the matchup. So
Yeah.
that went really well for SMSU. The Lolia had some decent plays early, but really kind of got outscaled and just fell behind. SMSU did take game 1. And then
Game 2 was a bit of a different story from SMSU. The Garen, the Skarner, and the Amumu all get banned, but the SMSU does get that Jace Victor back.
Yeah, they get the picks that they were maybe valuing the most. The Jace definitely popped off in game 1. The Victor was just, it's something SMSU plays very well, is very comfortable on. But, you know, you do see that jungle pressure from the Skarner. Amumu bans puts SMSU on Volibear. And it's not that SMSU plays bad when they play Volibear, but it's just definitely not as comfortable as something like the Skarner and Amumu.
And the story for this one is the Nocturne for the UAA Seawolves. They would always target the Victor, the Mel, the Jace, and it's very hard to get a Nocturne when you can't see anybody. So SMSU struggled a lot in team fights because you'd be down a team member.
Yeah, the Nocturne going that full assassin build, very frustrating when you're behind it because it kills people in like 1 second.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but we didn't let that one get to us on that one. Just game 3, we wanted to address it, so SMSU does ban the Nocturne. And we get, instead of Victor this time, we have Swain in the bot lane.
Which, I mean, similar roles in a team fight. Swain maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more in the front line and trying to run forward
tanky.
than Victor, but, you know, a lot of magic damage, maybe an easier laning phase, and some of the AD carries kind of can depend on the matchup quite a bit there.
Yep. And then we have the Yorick top, which is a little out there, but it's...
Yeah, but it's something that SMSU plays pretty well, and we did see the Yorick finding a lot of success in this game with split pushes. That's kind of what kept SMSU in this game for so long, but they do end up falling in this one as well. Not able to deal with the Zyra jungle. I hate it. I can't stand the fact that all these random characters come into the jungle.
You know what? Because of this game, we're now doing Zyra jungle.
Yeah, it's
very strong.
frustrating.
It's really good. So yeah, it's something to see for the future. So we'll jump into those highlights.
Well, we've got the second series. Let's.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the second series.
No worries. We're not going to jump into those highlights. We're going to go right into League of Legends Series 2, where this one was, I don't know, the games weren't terrible. They just couldn't really get anything going in this series. It felt like they didn't find someone having success, like a lot of success.
Yeah, the Darius jungle, which you know what, I probably haven't seen a Darius jungle since like season 11, so
yeah,
it's something really uncommon, and it's really good, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be as good as it was. It was definitely outpacing SMSU. They definitely lost the like speed clearing jungle part. Now, whether that was due to the jungler needing to be elsewhere, or just not able to keep up with that Darius. The Darius was definitely popping off on the jungling.
Yep.
And
SMSU bringing out the Lulu Ashe. That's something we haven't seen from SMSU yet.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the Ashe at all. I do feel like SMSU's lineup is really low damage if it actually just altogether. Malphite needs to hit a big ult this game for SMSU to really win. And it just wasn't really in the cards. We saw a Vel'Koz mid just harassing the Jace mid really hard. We saw the Mordekaiser top. That went pretty even with the Malphite. Actually, Malphite kind of left ahead in lane. The SMSU bot lane just really couldn't find much going. They were getting a little outpoked and out CS there in the bottom lane. But Darius just turns the objectives. He gets all the objectives on the map. This whole game, he double scuttles right away, as well as gets both grubs and dragon. So really difficult for SMSU there.
In the same game, the Ashe not doing too well. Does have a lot of damage though, 10 assists. So maybe using those ults very well.
Yeah, and that's where SMSU were finding their success, is on the back of like an Ashe ult onto somebody and just a full commit. But it just wasn't enough for this series.
Game number 2, looks like SMSU really wanted this jungler to not. Oh no, they banned this. Okay, so the first 3 picks they banned jungle, but he gets that Darius again.
Yeah, I think I would have banned the Darius after watching game 1 personally, but SMSU decides to stick with their triple, their Udyr, Shaco, Elise. Their jungler's their best player by far.
Yeah,
so it was really
difficult. They bring out the Kog'Maw SMSU to maybe shred the armor for Darius. Yeah, that was the game plan.
Getting a lot of that percent health damage too. It can be really good against the Darius, but you are also pretty immobile. And if Darius ever gets on you, you're probably dead.
So.
And the Malphite picked over on the other side here. SMSU went with the Urgot themselves as a counter pick, and it worked fairly well, but they took away one of SMSU's really strong lanes there with that Malphite pick, and SMSU just couldn't really find much going, but they do have some highlights from that, so we will jump right into the highlights of the League of Legends matches.
Season 2 like supportive jungler play style.
Gank heavy.
Yeah, gank heavy like objectives, like that
Right.
kind of thing.
which
Which doesn't lend itself.
We do have the great
the
flash
bait and
from
switch.
you bore me
You love to see it.
to save the Mundo there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, it
I
looks like
think
that.
Maybe
The
not.
poly! Oh, the poly almost saved him. The ult. We're seeing
Fox in
Yoshi's
his
gonna get
spots
some
do
great
some
damage on this Darius.
No, stands in it.
No, the healing! No, that healing is killer, dude.
Oh,
I didn't even notice! Doesn't even have her ult. Oh, Yubormi's gonna get ulted.
Gonna wait for him to come out. Look at SMSU find a little damage under Rel
guess
while
they're
they wait for
gonna-
Mort. Actually,
they're just
Lilia
gonna-
lives through and wins the fight versus the Mort. This could be
Rock
really good for SMSU. They find a team
solid!
fight. They find a bunch of damage. They find 3 kills.
great W from Corki to stay alive. They probably could be looking for a dive. I think they're looking for a dive here, so being able to clear out the wave as Corki as fast as you can.
Ooh, we're gonna look for a setup on this Caitlyn here.
Oh, we do have a potential fight
Oh,
on
that's
Caitlyn.
a dead Caitlyn.
Caitlyn's dead. If
good
you
night.
can get it to the
Good night, sweet.
Great highlights there from League. Moving on now, this week we had Marvel Rivals instead of Overwatch. So we'll be talking about some Marvel Rivals now.
Yeah, we played that Overwatch game in a previous week. We had moved it off of spring break so that we would have some extra time for spring break, let some students go home. And SMSU, they played in a tournament where the first round was a best of 3. And if you won, you keep playing best of 3s. But if you drop to the lower bracket, we moved to best of 1s. And they do lose their best of 3. So just a best of 3 for the first game. Then the rest of the tournament is just best of 1. They do lose that 2-0. And they played a really good team in round 1.
Yes. You know, the SMSU did look good though. If these people were on their level, they can win this.
Yeah, I definitely think they fought above SMSU's level. It was just a very difficult matchup. They do end up losing the first point of control, 99 to 38%. SMSU getting a little bit of percent there, and you know they played. They swapped their picks quite a bit in this map. They tried double tank. They tried triple DPS. I don't think they ever went to triple support in this game. They were trying a bunch of different things. They just felt like they couldn't output enough damage, not hitting enough headshots, not able to stay alive in this series. We definitely saw, you know, the Magneto is a big part of this series. I think the Punisher comes out quite a bit. But the Groot and Moon Knight ults on the other side, they were just finding so much success with those ults.
Yeah, and then for that second round of control, SMSU, I think they win one team fight and they get the point up to 21%, but they do lose 99 to 21.
Yeah,
as
they
I'm
got an
getting
isolated
interrupted.
team fight and
I mean something.
they won, and it was pretty nice job from SMSU there.
Okay. I'm sorry, Spencer.
It's all
My
good.
dad-
This
my
is what
dad
happens
walked
on
in.
spring break, guys. You know, everybody ends up busy in their own world, which is fine. But we gotta, we're still trying to put the podcast out for you guys at home. So excuse the random interruptions when they happen. But yeah, SMSU. I mean, they put up a good fight again. We saw a lot of things that SMSU saw their opponents doing that they looked at and said, we should implement that. That's a good idea. The way they played that was really smart. We see the way they played the sound cues on that second map specifically was very well done. And, you know, I think SMSU is going to look at the tournament as something they can take for improvement.
Yep. Moving on to, this is game number 2.
This
I
is
believe.
game 2, and this is hybrid, or whatever the
Hybrid.
Marvel Rivals equivalent of hybrid is. Where you get the point and then you escort. And SMSU, they got 58% only. They didn't unlock the point, so they had to put on a crazy good defense. And honestly, for the first minute and a half, they did have a really good defense.
Yeah.
But then the attack side, they find the weakness. I think they find an early pick onto a support, and SMSU just slowly starts falling over. They Doctor Strange portal back onto site, but just not quite enough. They weren't able to group up and, you know, jump on site together and have a 5v5. So they do end up losing on hybrid as well. On this one, we definitely saw the Spider-Man and the Black Panther being the thorns in SMSU's side.
Yep.
Really
Dive
aggressive
meta.
backline divers can be really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, with the Venom too, the Spider-Man gets that extra damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Then now invulnerability.
Really? I didn't
for
know
1
that.
second. Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's dumb.
Yeah, so
Okay.
SMSU end up falling in that series 2-0, where they dropped to a lower bracket, and the way the lower bracket worked was you kind of ban a few game modes and maps. Well, you ban maps within game modes, and then you just let the game decide what you end up on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
And we get this is Control. So SMSU getting a new lineup. I think it was just bringing in the Zero Power and X Woken.
Yeah, SMSU were swapping players this whole series, just allowing everybody to get in some time. So Zero Power, X Woken come in for Series 2. And honestly, SMSU looks pretty good in this. There was just a few slight mistakes, but they do win the first point of Control, 100-84. And most of their opponents' progression all came in like one team fight lost. So SMSU just needed to regroup and, take a smart team fight after that. Took them a little bit longer than maybe it should have, but it ends up working out for them pretty well. And then
round 2, SMSU, this one looked a lot better. Wait, no, they lose.
This is a lot worse, yeah.
A lot worse, I mean. Yeah, SMSU.
The Iron Fist was a problem in this one.
Yeah, didn't have an answer for the Iron Fist. He's very good right now. And the Moon Knight compared with it, like you have to either focus the Iron Fist or you have an Ankh coming out and you gotta try to focus the Ankh for a second, and it's hard.
Yeah, SMSU really struggle. I think they misused the Magneto ult in Spawn at the beginning of this, and I think that kind of put SMSU on tilt.
Yeah.
I believe that was a big deal, and just for their morale more than the team fight win. Is everybody was like, oops. And
didn't you can all in Spawn.
Yeah, I knew that.
I knew that.
But yeah, so SMSU do lose and bring it to 1-1 on Control. And then in the last map of Control, it ends up being a really close game. SMSU does win 100-90%. SMSU barely won the last team fight there, and then we just see a bunch of staggered players trying to get back and delay what is probably the inevitable, but what do you do?
This one would have been as close if Star-Lord didn't ult while the other DPS is ulting. You typically want to have one or the other ult so you can save the other one for...
depending on the situation a little bit, but for the most part, yeah.
So this one got a little dragged out because of that, but SMSU does end up winning.
Yeah, so. I think SMSU had popped 4 ults for one single team fight.
Yeah.
And well, if the other team's popping 4 ults, it's fine, but the other team didn't use any. So it was a little overkill.
They used one. They used the Moon Knight ult during that fight, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
But it's 4 ults for 1 is not that good.
No, it's not. So SMSU do take that series 2-1, where they moved on, waiting for their upper bracket player's game to finish. The loser of the second and 5th place team ended up dropping down to where SMSU were at in the bracket. And this one does not go very well for SMSU.
No.
They don't really get any significant progress on their own push. They make it only 89 meters, which is just nothing on a normal escort map. And their opponents, it only took them a minute to end the game by, they found, I think, what was the play? They found a Storm ult. I don't remember what broke.
They found a pick on a support.
Oh, okay.
And then I think.
And then SMSU end up, they portal back onto site with everybody. They do lose that first team fight, and it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Portal's like a strong skill, but if you're stagger coming out, it's really difficult to take a team fight.
Yeah, because immediately this portal comes out, we try to jump on, 3 of us die instantly.
Yeah.
So
that is what ends the Marvel Rivals tournament for SMSU. They end the tournament winning 1 series, losing 2. thank you guys for joining us for the podcast. And we will see you guys next week when our next episode is released.